that they were going to Great America Amusement Park outside of Chicago. So that's got to be a really fun time that the whole class was going to this area outside of Chicago and going to this amusement park. And so he really wanted to go, obviously. And his dad said, no, you're grounded. You're definitely not going. So he was really serious about the grounding, and he actually took out part of the engine of the car just to make sure that Jeff didn't sneak off and take the car.
Jeez.
So he's really not trusting Jeff to not take the car. So like any other teenager, Jeff's just trying to convince his dad that he wants to do what he wants to do. And please, Dad, can I please go? Bob does eventually give in a little bit and says, okay, you're going to go to prom, but I will drive you. So imagine being driven to prom by your dad. Not the ideal situation, right?
No.
What would you do if your dad rolled up with you and your girlfriend to prom?
That would just be awkward.
It'd be more awkward for your girlfriend, I think, than anything.
Especially if they were mad at each other because of grounding. It's going to be like tension.
So Jeff tells Darla not to worry because he's got a plan. His dad has already changed his mind and he's going to be allowed to go to everything. He said, I already talked to him. Don't worry. I've got it all figured out. So he tells her, just don't say anything because my family's still kind of upset about it. It's kind of a sore subject around home, and so I don't want you to say anything. But yes, my dad is going to let me go. So she's thinking, yay, we're back on track. Prom's still a go. And imagine how devastated that would make you to know that your boyfriend's just all of a sudden going to get grounded right before prom and you can't go. And you've already probably spent all this money to go get your things. And so that would be horrible. So on that Saturday, Jeff goes to work at McDonald's just like normal. He returns home in the early afternoon and everyone's home except for his sister Jackie and his stepsister Jessica, who are spending the weekend with friends. And as they're all heading out for a fun night, a lot of the kids knew Bob because he was the local minister and it seemed like they were pretty popular in their area. So a lot of the kids were stopping by to show him how they looked. So that seemed kind of cool. Like it seemed like he was really well liked because for them to make the effort to stop by and show them their dresses and their tuxes and everything seemed like they really thought a lot of Bob. So the last person to have actually talked to Bob and the family was around 4:30 that afternoon. Okay. So Jeff calls Darla at 5:20 and he says he's having a little bit of car trouble, but he's at the local gas station and he's going to be late, but he'll be there. Okay. So the gas station attendants all say he's wearing a black shirt and jeans at the time. So at 5:30, he arrives at his friend's house, which is only 10 minutes after he said he had car trouble and I'm running late, but I'll be there. He gets to his friend's house and he changes into his tux, which it makes me giggle because the fact that guys can just throw on a tux and be ready after girls have been preparing probably
for
all
hours,
day. Yeah, it's kind of funny to me. So Jeff and Darla then go to a dinner with another couple. So around this time, there's a girl who visits the Pelley house to show Bob and the family her dress. Nobody answers the door. So this is right around the same time at 5:30, and somebody had talked to them about 4:30. So an hour later, they're not answering their door. So at that time, the house is dark and everything's silent. The shades are drawn and the doors are locked. So the girl leaves. So Jeff and Darla go to prom around 7:30 p.m. and they have a great time. It's just a wonderful night. He is actually seen in pictures, super happy. I mean, he acts like he had the night of his life. So they have a great time. Afterwards, they go to a local bowling alley and then to a sleepover at a friend's house. So they're all over at this friend's house. And it sounded like it was a co-ed type of a situation. So they're all going to stay the night at this house. And him having a minister for a dad, I kind of thought that was weird because Did people think that that was going to be allowed when he went from being grounded earlier that week? And obviously his friends and everybody knew he was grounded and not going to be able to go to prom. And then now he's going to prom and a sleepover with his girlfriend. So it just seemed weird to me. So anyway, they get done at the bowling alley and they go to the sleepover. They have a great night. The next morning, they all decide that they're going to go to breakfast. So they go to Darla's house for her car and some money. And while she's getting the money, Jeff talks to her mother. And they were getting ready to go to Great America that day and go to the amusement park and just all have fun. Darla's mom is really surprised that he's allowed to go because she even knew that about him being grounded. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it was common knowledge among everybody around.
Why was he grounded?
Prosecution relies on a carefully constructed timeline, which would put Jeff Pelley at the parsonage during that particular 20-minute period. So they feel like he did this murder in 20-minute period. That's 4 people. So since they don't have a whole lot of forensic evidence or anything to rely on, the prosecution basically relies on circumstantial evidence that releases around a carefully constructed timeline, which put Jeff Pelley at the parsonage in a 20-minute period. So they actually are saying that this murder happened within 20 minutes. And not just one murder. He killed this entire family in a 20-minute period. So he would have had to do more than just commit the murders. He would have committed the murders, changed clothes. They did find clothes in the washing machine that he had been wearing. And so he put clothes in the washer, took a shower, located and picked up the shell casings, drew the blinds, locked the doors, got rid of the gun and the casings, and then went to prom. That's a lot for 20 minutes.
Yeah, he's kind of speedy little guy, huh?
Yeah. And the pictures of him at prom are like he doesn't have a care in the world. And so it's hard to imagine the picture at prom being a kid that just killed his entire family, basically.
Yeah.
So investigators actually say that he was angry at his father for grounding him from attending all of the pre- and post-prom activities and from driving his car, of course. So that after the killings, he cleaned up, went to prom with his girlfriend, stayed overnight with his friends, and the next day went with friends to the Great America theme park in Chicago, where he was located all day Sunday. So during the trial, Jeff Pelley's attorneys insisted that there wasn't enough time for him to kill the family, which 20 minutes doesn't seem like enough time. That's a lot to do in 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying 20 minutes to do everything that they're claiming that he did, still make it to prom, and that after committing an act like that, nobody's going to act like normal. And all of his friends testify and say, no, he didn't have anything wrong with him. He was just like any other day. He was having fun. We had a great time. So they're saying there's no way that that could have happened. Mm. So after a 6-day trial, which included nearly 40 witnesses, that's a lot.
Jeez, yeah.
It's a lot of people that were involved in this. Jurors deliberated for 34 hours, and they returned with the verdict. Guilty.
Dang.
So Jeff Pelley is now 34 years old, and he was sentenced to 160 years in prison. So he gets a 40-year sentence for each person, and they are consecutively run. So 160 years in prison. A court of appeals reversed the conviction in 2008, but in 2009, the Indiana Supreme Court upholds the conviction. So he is now still incarcerated, as he will be for many, many more years to come.
Huh.
So, one thing I wanted to point out is that there are a lot of people that actually are saying that there's no way that this could have happened. So there are a few different theories, okay? He's been seeking appeal, and they actually have a website that's dedicated to proclaiming his innocence. His sister is adamant that he did not do this. She knows he wouldn't have committed these crimes, and so his sister has actually stood by him all of these years. So One of the theories, obviously, was that Jeff was upset about being grounded. He was mad. He decided that was the easiest way out, is just to kill them all. And seems a little extreme, but seems a lot extreme, rather. But that was one of the theories, obviously. Another theory is that Bob had previously been working in a pretty sketchy environment, and somebody from his past could have very easily come and killed him. So, possible. I mean, is it possible? Yeah. But is it likely? Maybe not. There have been reports of suspicious vehicles outside of the parsonage in the days leading up to the murders. And so they think that maybe somebody was coming to hunt him down, to find him, to track him down and from his past. And they also think that the prosecution was just really, really eager to solve this crime, which happens a lot because in election years, they're even more motivated to get crimes solved, get them off their plate, and they can actually have a winning record. So they feel like the prosecution was just really, really overly eager to get this crime solved and attribute it to something. So no matter what we believe, which I don't really know what to think on this one, maybe you guys will have a theory to write to us at sinisterstoryhour@gmail.com. But no matter what we think, he is still in the Wabash Correctional Facility near Terre Haute, Indiana. Another theory is that there was even another man that had confessed to the crime and that they had covered it up. They might have even had a confession from somebody else, but I never found much more about that. Robert Pelley might have actually been receiving death threats, they said, in the weeks before the family was murdered. And so if that were the case, I feel like there would be more information about that, but I didn't find a whole lot. I think that's maybe been brought up as maybe a plausible way to rationalize it. And of course, like we said, 30 minutes is the most that it could have actually happened. And then the murder weapon was never actually recovered. So if they could have found the murder weapon, it really would have sealed the deal a lot more. But if you don't have that, you don't have a whole lot of a case.
I wonder where that could have went.
Yeah. It makes me wonder where he would have taken it.
He
didn't have time to take it far.
To take it in 20 minutes and hide it, I don't.
Yeah, he's not going far with it, even if he did do it. So, I don't know. So let us know what you guys think. As of right now, the earliest release date for Jeff is October 3rd, 2082. For this show, I looked at cbsnews.com, mailfactorsregister.com. I did look at the justiceforjeff.org website a little bit as well. There was an episode of Evil Lives Here that somebody had actually sent me as a show suggestion. And so thank you for show suggestions. Keep those coming. But I love the show Evil Lives Here. And that was a really good episode, I thought. There's also mycrimelibrary.com, which was really interesting to look at. They have a really good site. So thank you to all of my sources, and I will leave those in the show notes. And thank you guys for listening to another Sinister Story Hour. And show up for next time.
Thank you, guys.
Another crime on Storytime. Thank you for listening, everybody. We will see you next time on Sinister Story Hour.